Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now getting closer to the end of November of 2022, and with just one episode of Star Wars Andor remaining, a lot of fans are now looking forward to other shows out there, such as of course Bad Batch 2, Mando 3, and Ahsoka by Jon and Dave, as well as even George Lucas, by the way, that's really going to steer things in the more correct path for the Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new universe between George, Jon, and Dave is that they are all now grouping together, finding avenues and pathways to deliver Star Wars Legends again, to really mix that in with the current canon material, and exactly how that's really going to further progress to something great and new. Now, one thing that we do know about Jon is that he has been very much forward about this with the fans, that he wants to make it very clear to the fandom that he wants to create a balance between Legends and canon, and exactly how it's going to basically coexist. Now, yes, we already know that Legends will become canon, like highlights of Legends, and how it's going to work with the already established material, and how it's going to work hand in hand. But on top of this, alright, one thing that Favreau has been putting out there a lot is how Lucasfilm acts as a company and how he thinks about Lucasfilm, and specifically Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, the president of the actual, company itself, and how she really was at the time the real creative lead for all of these new Star Wars shows, which now are all falling into the hand of Jon and Dave. Now, with that being said, given that both Disney and Lucasfilm are getting ready to develop many new Star Wars TV shows for the fans, however, in a recent interview that Jon Favreau took part in, he went on to talk about Lucasfilm as a company and Kathleen Kennedy. Favreau went on to state the following to the community. When I first signed on for The Mandalorian, I knew that Star Wars needed some work done to it and substantial changes needed to be applied. I am not one to judge people in this industry, but Kathleen Kennedy really wanted to actually not even contribute to the true nature of Star Wars to the fandom for years, and this needed to be changed. After all, the creative differences that she had with other creators, it left me a bit worried about working on The Mandalorian at the time. I remember vividly being frustrated with her when she wouldn't allow me to use the characters that I wanted to use in Season 1. I will openly make this clear that Kathleen Kennedy was lost and did not really know what she was doing with Star Wars. She didn't have an endgame or a goal-to-goal system that would fulfill George's outlook. Now, I want to pause right here for a second before Jon gets to the real heavy stuff about Kennedy, is that it's true. When you look at how she's operated the company for the past, several years now, she really has created a lot of problems within the fandom. She divided it. We saw what she did with the sequels, with soloist Star Wars stories, box office results. A big part of that, by the way, was because she had the movie 80% reshot. But nonetheless, apart from all of that, it really was the creative differences that really tainted her past or her, job history over at Lucasfilm. Time and time again, she would get new creators for example, the Boba Fett film, Patty Jenkins movie. Another great example is, of course, the D&D trilogy, alright? David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. That didn't turn out because of creative differences, and they got a better, offer, and they decided to leave because of that, too. So, Favreau makes it very clear that creative differences were a real issue with her, for years upon years, and he himself was afraid that was going to happen with him, and it ended up happening, at least with Season 1. He wanted to use specific key characters that he was not allowed to. That frustrated him. It left him kind of in a little bit of writer's block for a couple of episodes that took a while to write. But I digress, alright? Because this is where things begin to really progress of what Favreau says about Kathleen Kennedy and what he's able to say about George Lucas specifically. And for those of you that know, George and Kathleen do not get along. George actually specifically did not attend the world premiere of Episode 9 because of what she did by deleting so many scenes from that film that he advised. So, this is what Jon further has to say. Quite frankly, at the time, I was very offended how she wanted to cast out George from all future projects, shows, or movies. She wanted nothing to do with him, and I could just feel the soul-crushing feelings from George thousands of miles away when I was on vacation and getting this news from Kathleen Kennedy. It was wrong, and it should have never been a legitimate thought to share with others. My goal is to essentially provide fans what Kennedy at the time could not. Keep things simple, fun, and exciting, and to really pay attention to the true source material for the franchise. Now, another thing that I think a lot of fans need to be aware of is that Kathleen Kennedy right now is still having trouble with the Acolyte series, even though that they are filming. They are still having trouble with how they're going to market this thing. They have no idea, by the way. This is another thing that's going on over at, Lucasfilm, and how the Disney executives are having a frustrating time as well with all of that because of Kathleen Kennedy. For those of you that don't know, Jon and Dave stepped in to actually fix the Acolyte to a degree. They left because of the toxic environment. And eventually what they did was that they left, and Kathleen Kennedy basically started deleting all of their fixes. Disney got to them in time, and some, I say some, fixes by Jon and Dave remain. So you might have a mixture of tones with the Acolyte where you're going to see a lot of Kathleen Kennedy-driven stuff, and then, some Jon and Dave-driven content thrown in there. That's going to leave you a little bit confused as to exactly what tone the Acolyte is really aiming for. Now, obviously, Jon Favreau putting it out there that he never agreed with Kathleen Kennedy's approach to Star Wars of how it was really basically all about casting out George, not paying attention to the hardcore fans. Jon did not like that. He was not on board with that. In fact, he was very much against that. And that's what I like about him in today's day and age, is because now what he's doing, given that he has a big promotion over at Lucasfilm that has now, gone into full effect, he's really pushing for all future shows to really be catered to the true fans, the fans that support this franchise, buy the merchandise, watch the movies several times. He really wants to make sure that he's going to make those fans happy. But that's not to say that he's going to exclude the attraction of newcomers or new fans. He also wants to keep that open on the table, which is why he's introducing new characters as well, and also new shows full of new characters on the side. But he knows, he's very smart, to not exclude the very well-established characters as well. He has that balance, he knows what he's doing, and that's what I like about Favreau, is that he pays attention to all the fans equally, casual, new, or hardcore. It doesn't matter, he likes to satisfy everyone. So overall, guys, on top of all of this, let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.